Hello everyone, I hope you're having a nice day. My name is Swift1 and welcome to another video on the channel. In this video I'm going to show you some tips and tricks on how I went from being a go-to player in FIFA 19 to a consistent elite player in FIFA 20. And even in FIFA 21 I hit elite every week. Obviously if you're a gold 3 player then you have a long way to go to reach elite, but I truly believe that someone consistently finishing gold 2 with 19 wins or gold 1 has what it takes to be an elite player, so maybe this video might be helpful. Just a friendly reminder, if this video helps you out in any way, let me know by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. I also stream on Twitch as Swift1. Catching me on Twitch is the fastest way to get your questions answered. Links to all my socials can be found in the description below. The difference between gold 1 and elite 1 top 200 is huge, but in my opinion the difference between gold 1 and elite 3 is just matchmaking, connection, your team and your mentality, and nothing else. You have to understand how matchmaking works, so pretty much you would place someone within +5 or -5 of your current record. So let's say you are 6 and 0, that means you would play anyone within +1 to +11. But it's not as simple as that, as there are several conditions. The first 5 games of the weekend league are not ranked games. Matchmaking is completely random and you could play anyone in the first 5 games. But since they are more casual players than elite players, the first 5 games would be relatively easy. The record caps at +15 wins because only a few players in the world are capable of going +15 wins. So whether you are 15 and 0, 25 and 5, 25 and 2, even a pro player 29 and 0, all of those players are considered the same at +15 wins in terms of matchmaking. Also, once you hit +15 wins, the game prioritizes matching you with other players that are also +15 wins. We call this high ELO matchmaking. Lastly, if you don't see the rank up screen at the end of the match, that game won't count towards your ELO. This means if you rage quit or get a DC, that loss won't be added to your ELO for matchmaking because the game will count as a DNF, that means did not finish, instead of a loss. Now let me break down what all this means. The current system of matchmaking is flawed because we all start and play our games at different times. In order for it to work properly, we must all play our games at the same time like they do in the online qualifiers. That is the reason why EA gives more skill rating to the top 200 who play more games on Friday, because the matchmaking is tougher as it's more random on the Fridays. Just think about it, if you're a gold 1 player and you play lots of games on Fridays, you would realize that you start the weekend league really well, then all of a sudden you lose like 4 games in a row. Because the problem is on the Friday, people have not played enough games to establish their true skill level. At 8 and 0 on a Friday, you have a high probability of facing other elite players because at the time they are also 8 and 0, and that would be considered fair matchmaking. My advice is start your weekend league playing 15 games on a Saturday night, then another 15 on a Sunday night. Just skip Friday altogether. That way the majority of the community would have played like 20 games by Saturday night, so matchmaking would be more skill based than being random. And most importantly, majority of the elite players would be +15 wins by Saturday night, so you are less likely to face an elite player until you reach +15 wins. I am not making this stuff up, the proof is on the Champions channel. The number 1 in the world this week is not Makuzo, and at 4 and 0 he matched a gold 2 player who was also 4 and 0. At 5 and 0 he matched a gold 1 player who was 5 and 0. At 9 and 0 he matched a gold 2 player who was 8 and 1. If all of these guys waited till Saturday night before playing, all of the pro players and majority of the elite players would be +15 by then. So you won't match them till at least you reach +15 yourself. Mathematically speaking, if everyone played all their games, only less than 15% of the community would get elite. With each passing hour, there will be less and less elite players as some will finish up their games. The goal of every consistent elite 1 player is to finish top 200, so they try to finish their games early to get higher skill rating. If you are playing your high ELO games on Sunday nights, like 90% of the elite 1+ players in your region will be done with their games by then. People say there is no skill gap in FIFA, but I disagree. The difference between a 22 and 7 player and an elite 1 player, even though they are both considered +15 wins, trust me, the difference is huge and clear as day. And if you match an elite 1 player, it's a guaranteed loss. Those guys are just insane at the game. Long story short, your high ELO games would be relatively easy if you play on Sunday night closer to the deadline, as majority of the players that are capable of going 27 wins aim for top 200, so they finish their games earlier to get higher skill ratings. You stand a better chance of winning against someone that is barely elite as compared to a verified player. Also, do not rage quit. If you're only a Gold 3, Gold 2 player, it won't make much of a difference, but I guess it's fine to rage quit to save time. But if you're a Gold 1 player with only 1 or 2 wins shy of elite, never rage quit, because that could be the difference. Rage quitting or getting a DC does not count towards your ELO. For example, imagine a scenario where you are 18 and 5. That means you are plus 13 wins and you are supposed to face opponents between plus 8 and plus 15 wins. However, because there are less players with plus 15 wins on a Sunday, you are more likely to face an opponent between plus 8 and plus 13. On a Sunday, those are Gold players, and should you win the next 2 games to get you to 20 and 5. At 20 and 5, you are plus 15 wins, and the game prioritizes matching you with other players that are plus 15 wins. Even if you lose that game, you will drop down to plus 14 wins and face another Gold player. Win that and you are back at plus 15 wins, and even if you lose your high elo game again, you will drop down to plus 14 wins and face another Gold player. So eventually, you would be 22 and 7, and you would have to win your last game to get elite. However, at 18 and 5, if you rage quitted 3 games, those 3 losses are not added to your ELO, so the matchmaking thinks you are 18 and 2, not 18 and 5. So you are actually playing 2 extra high ELO games. High ELO games are not a joke, it's like playing Division 1 rival games. You just make it hard for yourself to get elite if you rage. Plus, this year you actually need to finish your games to get the 400 rival points. Also, if you rage quit against every opponent better than you, how are you gonna improve at the game? You need to learn from your experience, from your losses. If you ask any streamer or pro player, they won't tell you the truth. They will say rage quitting does not affect matchmaking. They want you guys to leave so that they can finish their games early. Elite players don't quit games, man. They could be down 4 goals by halftime and have the worst delayed game ever. They will play to the last minute because they know rage quitting will affect their ELO matchmaking. Connection is the second most important factor after matchmaking in finishing elite. I have a dedicated video on how to reduce delay, input delay, and ways to avoid lag compensation. I will leave the link in the description below so that you can check it out if you have problems with connectivity. But in summary, play with a wired connection. If you play on PS4, always play with a wireless controller. Avoid playing the weekend league at peak times as the server delay is unbearable. It's better to play in the evenings or early mornings, and only play home games to guarantee you are playing on your closest server. Another way to force yourself to play on your closest server is by playing only home games. So I want you to pay attention to this. When you search for a game and you get match right away, you are away because someone is already in the match lobby. So you want to search and see searching for opponents. Then the next screen would say loading. If the loading is quick, like less than 2 seconds, you are home. If the loading is like 5 seconds plus, then you are away. This works 100% because I play all my weekend league games at home. In other modes like the rivals and friendlies, I don't really care about. In the weekend league, I only play home games. Team building is also very important. FIFA 21 is 100% pay to win. A lot of these elite and pro players downplay it by saying team don't matter as much, it's all about skill. But then they are all using Neymar and Mbappe in October. Once you hit plus 15 wins, you would match elite caliber players, and most of these players are paid to win and have good teams because they get elite rewards and champs and get Division 1 rival rewards. So you need a good team to compete against them. I'm not saying spend money and build a god team. It's not entirely about using an expensive team per se, but you need to build a team that fits the meta of the game. Most people just use players based on symmetry value, like they use players they like in real life, or they try to build a past and present Chelsea or whatever. You can use your fun teams in friendlies, rivals and squad battles, but in the weekend league you have to use a meta team because once you hit the high elo rank games, it will be so hard to win the games when your opponents have team advantage. This is the team I'm using, and I know it's a crazy team, but I got lucky with Red Rashford and first owner untradeable Messi. I finished Division 1 rank 1, elite in FUT Champs and elite 1 in squad battles every week. Every week I make about at least 500k for my rewards in total, and I use the coins to trade to get more coins. You should build a team similar to this. For a 450k budget, you should go for something like this team. Dembele and Ben Yedder are literally the younger brothers of Neymar and Mbappe in the game. For a 100k to 150k budget, you should go for something like this because it is also very similar. As you can see with the trend with these teams, you have fast defenders with decent reactions and defensive awareness. It is very important to have defensive players with high reactions and high defensive awareness. It is also crucial to have your main striker with at least 5-star skills, as the best skill moves this year is by far the running scoop turn, the elastico and the reverse elastico, and they can only be done by 5-star skillers. That is all I have for now. I hope these tips help some of you win some extra games to the weekend league and finish elite. I do have some other gameplay tutorials you can check out if you need help with gameplay. If this video helped you out in any way, let me know by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. I also stream on Twitter, Smokeswift1. Catching me on Twitter is the fastest way to get your questions answered. Links to all my socials can be found in the description below. Until next time, peace.